So I was getting ready to do this review, and I had a horrible realization. One that you would say, hey, Nima, you've been doing this for a while. Didn't you already have this planned out? Didn't you think about this? And the answer is no, because that's not who I am as a person. But no, I was getting ready to review this game called StoryBlocks, The King, and I realized that I really only have like a minute of content for it. You see, the game itself is rather simplistic. There's nothing against it, it's just the mechanics of the game, and a good chunk of the gameplay or engagement is actually just storytelling, and so you can't give too much of that away in a review either. And then I realized, oh crap, I've only got a solid minute of a review. So I decided, let's go ahead and review that game, but on top of that, let's talk about other games that I'm playing, some of them for a bigger video, some of them just for fun, and one of them because my daughter erased my save file. But before we get into any of that, please hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate each and every one of you guys as we grow this channel. Not only does it really help me out, but it allows me to be able to give you guys more stuff. And in fact, I have a free game to give you guys. StoryBlocks, The King. All you have to do is comment down below and you'll be entered to win. But let's talk about StoryBlocks. So this is a game where you essentially guide the story about a little boy who wants to be a king. He doesn't know exactly how he can be a king, but he just knows that he wants to be a king, and so he needs to go explore the world. And this is where you come in. So your job is to literally create different paths for him to go down. As you get into the game, you'll notice that there's 2 or 3, maybe even up to like 5 different islands. One where the little boy starts and different branching paths. You're given a certain amount of blocks and you literally create a pathway for the little boy to go on. And depending what destination you choose is how the story plays out. There will be different endings, different stories, all based upon your decisions and where you send this little boy. On each playthrough, there will be multiple options, but you can only choose one. So it gives this game a lot of replayability. Now it is important to mention something, and that is something that threw me off, and that is you can create a perfect path, but if it's not the path the game wants you to make, then it won't work. And what I mean by this is it's not destination, I just mean path in general. You set up the blocks and the game sort of forces you to create it in a certain manner. And I guess this is where the puzzle aspect comes in, and I respect that, I get that. I didn't really understand it when I first started playing it, and it kind of drove me insane because I was like, this should work, why isn't this working? But it wasn't the exact way that the game wanted the path to look. And for me, that was a little bit annoying, if I'm being honest. I like most of what this game had to offer. That one specific thing was the only thing that bothered me because it just didn't make sense. You could easily make this path work. It should work just fine, but just because that's not what the game wanted, it wouldn't work. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing that bothered me about the game. Everything else about the game is cool. Like, I appreciate a nice little story, and it is a well-written and charming story. Being able to choose which way to go and having different options throughout the game, it'll have you wanting to go back and find out what a different path would have led to. It just has a lot more content that way, and I really did appreciate it. But ultimately for me, this game gets about a 6.5 out of 10. It's a fun little game, and like I said, we do have a code for the game to give away. And honestly, I found it as a pretty fun game to play in between stuff. You know, it's fun for a good like 20-30 minute stint. It's a really nice palate cleanser, and if you're interested in the game, comment down below. Then while we're on the topic of palate cleansers, another one that I found just really fun is a game called Fundraiser. This game retails for like $2.99, and right now Devolver Digital is having like a pretty big sale, so I picked it up for like $1.99, but really it doesn't matter. $2.99 is still a really good price for it. It's just a lot of fun. What it is you riding through a very congested street, and you have 10 seconds, but for every coin you get another second. So the real loop in this game is just seeing how far you can get. But the coins do far more than just give you more time. In fact, after each playthrough, you can spend these coins on different upgrades. Some things that'll really help you out, like adding more coins into the level, or every time you hit trash cans, it gives you a boost. There is a ton of different upgrades to get and to use and to just really take this game further. It is a lot of fun. And honestly, I recommend it to everyone. To make it even better though, it declares that every dollar made from it will go to charity forever. So if you buy this game 10 years from now, apparently that'll still go to charity. So I don't know, that's pretty cool. So I have to ask you guys, have you ever been playing a game and you got almost to the end or really close to it, and then your save file got corrupted or deleted on accident, and there you are looking at this progress that is now gone? You had 20, 30 hours into a game and you are right at the end. Do you really replay it? Most of the time, I say no. I don't. It's just not worth it to me. But if it's a really good game, then I make exceptions. And that is why I've been playing Prince of Persia: Lost Crown. This game is so good. And even the second time through, it's been a delight. Like, there's so many Metroidvania games that I will play and they become a chore. Like, I'm trying to just get to a certain point so I can quit and go play something else. With Prince of Persia, it has been hard to put the game down. I will get on these long sessions with that game where I'm in 3, 4, 5 hours and I just want to keep playing. It is such a good game. I know I didn't review it. I was going to review it, but, then my daughter deleted my save file, which was my fault, by the way. I left the Switch on. I went to get her a bottle and she saw what Dad does and tried to do the same thing and somehow deleted it. I still have no idea how. Point is, this game is easily a 9.5 out of 10. It is so good. Like, 2024 has hit us some really good games. Most of them, unfortunately, are really high priced. They're that $60 range, but honestly, they're worth it. And speaking of those games, one of them that I already did review and I gave basically a 10 out of 10 was Unicorn Overlord. And yes, I am still playing it. I'm just wrapping it up. I'm way past the end, essentially, or what I should be at the end. I'm just doing side quests and really just expanding that game out. Because again, I gave it a 10 out of 10 or 9.9 out of 10 something. The game deserves like a 20 out of 10. This game is so good. I've really enjoyed every second of it. It just has so much world building, character development, character growth, setting up your macros, the tactics in the combat, which is incredibly easy to jump into, but pretty difficult to master. And I haven't found a bad quest in this game. Yeah, there might be some that are a little small, but they are so good. And just everything about the game, I just absolutely love it. But unfortunately, I'm running out of things to do and I am going to have to close this one up. But I think it's a good time because there is actually another game that's coming out in a couple weeks that I think is going to also just be a banger. And I've been looking forward to that game for literally years. It's from the team that made Suikoden. I believe it's called Eiyuden Chronicles: The 100-Year Hero or 100 Heroes, something like that. I can't remember the exact name, but it's Eiyuden something. But that game looks awesome. And those games are great. But I did want to talk about a couple others I'm playing that are on the cheaper side. And one of those games is a game called Falconeer. Now, honestly, I picked up this game because of the guy that made it. Apparently, there's just been tons of updates, a lot of free content. The guy is constantly working on this game. And yes, once you see the game, it's hard to believe that it was made by one guy and he's still working on it, just giving you just tons of free content. But essentially, the game is on sale as we speak for like $7.99. Typically, it's $29.99. Everything I've played so far, I would say it's well worth the original price, but it does go on sale quite often. So one of those you want to throw on your wish list, it's definitely a good pickup because when you look at the game, it looks sort of like it's just aerial combat. And it's not. It is, but it's not. Like, it's a more fleshed out version of aerial combat. Essentially, you're on this like water world dystopian where the whole world is kind of broke up into these small islands. And so most of the fighting happens actually in the sky on your falcon or on other mounts that you can get. There's a ton of different characters that you can choose from with different backstories. And the game itself just offers so many upgrades, so many things you can add to your mount or your falcon and kind of change things up with it. It's very customizable, as well as just being able to interact with a ton of NPCs that really have a lot of life to them. And in fact, most of them are voice acted, and that gives it also some personality in life. But like each little hub area you stop by, there's multiple things to do, multiple people to talk to. And like I said, like so much of the actual combat is, yes, it's like air combat, which some people may not like, but on the back of like a falcon or another kind of beast, it feels different. It doesn't feel as foreign as like a fighter jet or something. I don't know. I just really like this game, and everything that I've played so far into it has just been fantastic. I guess if you're watching this video today as it releases, you might be able to pick it up for $7.99, but regardless, it's well worth it. The guy puts a lot of hard work into it, and the game looks and performs great. I'll probably talk about this at a later date when I've had more time to play through it, but right now I'm just really enjoying my time with it. Another game that I'm really into is a game called The Ruiner. Now this is like a steampunk sort of isometric action-adventure game with, again, a ton of upgradables, a lot of customization you can do to your character, and the setting for this game is a steampunk future where you might be a sentient robot? I don't know what you are, but you got hacked essentially. And as the game starts off, and I'm not giving too much away, but the hacker has you turn on your own team or your best interest, we'll say that. And another hacker who ends up guiding you throughout the game is able to stop you from making a huge mistake. But this game has you going into this dark, gritty underworld where you do work with some criminals, but you also bust some of like the worst criminals. Like one of the enemies that really just stuck out to me was a human trafficker. So you can see like some of this is based in more realistic criminality, yet at the same time you're also a robot. Now the combat for this game though is like a sort of a twin stick shooter. There's a lot of melee that happens in it though as well. And there's just a ton of character to this game. Things like finishing moves are really cool. Passive different skills you can use as well as active skills. A lot of upgrading, a lot of just making your character what works best for you. And so I really liked it. Like this is a game that is typically $9.99. Right now, it's Devolver Digital again. Right now, it's like $1.99. I think there's a few more days on that sale. I'm not really sure, but it's definitely worth the money. Even at $10, it's worth it. At $1.99, it's just ridiculous. But anyway, that's just some of the games I'm playing. I'm gonna have another review out tomorrow. This one turned out to be a lot longer video than I thought it was gonna be. So I hope you guys enjoy. Anyway, take care, everyone. Love y'all. Bye-bye.